Mondays. And leading off our broadcast, the Mets have made it pretty clear they intend to give Travis d'Arnaud a shot to get back on track and live up to the billing behind the dish in 2017. But according to the Boston Globe, it is not out of the question that free agent Matt Wieters could still end up with the Amazons, although the Nationals and the Braves certainly appear to be more likely landing spots for Wieters in the National League. Wieters hit 17 home runs, knocked in 66 runs this past season, and was an all-star selection for the fourth time in his career. He's 30 years old. He is the top free agent catcher that is still on the market. And with that, we welcome you. It's Mets Hot Stove. It's presented by Geico. Gary Apple sitting alongside John Harper of the Daily News, Nelson Figueroa as well. Happy New Year to you, gentlemen.
To you, Gary.
Good to be back along with you in 2017. Happy New Year to everybody out there joining us tonight. Let's begin with Matt Wieters and the chances, Harp, that he ends up with the Mets.
Yeah, I was told pretty definitively today that the Mets don't have much interest in him, and that basically the quote was, "We're not going to spend our money on a catcher." They seem convinced that d'Arnaud can make a comeback, and they like Rivera in the backup role. That they feel like d'Arnaud's problems really all revolve around his hitting. It kind of tends to carry over his defense. Get that bat wrapped around his head, get it unwrapped around his head. Maybe he gets back to where he was before. But they have a limited amount of money to spend. They still have to trade Jay Bruce, and I think they want to spend it mostly in the reliever market.
So what about the rumors? Where do they come? Where do they emanate from?
You know, sometimes it can come from an agent. Believe it or not, an agent might put that out there.
Is that possible? Somebody by the name of Scott Boras?
Scott Boras might put that out there. And obviously, they love to get the New York teams involved because that maybe raises the market out. There's not much, it doesn't seem like there's much of a market, at least not the kind of market they anticipated for Wieters out there right now. So I think that could be it. You never know. It could be. Now, it's possible that if his price drops low enough, maybe the Mets decide, hey, this is just too good to pass up. But right now they're saying they're not in.
What's your take on Wieters? Is it somebody that you believe the Mets should pursue, Nelson?
Well, several things. You see where the rumor started, right? Boston Globe brings it in. We've got one of New York's finest right here, and he hasn't reported anything about the Mets being interested in Wieters. To me, he's really not a good fit. You're talking about they keep trying to say they want to cut salary. They're looking to trade away Jay Bruce and his contract or Granderson in his contract, and that's a lot of money to take off the books to add it back on for a guy who, for me, I think Travis d'Arnaud, he's a big candidate to have a bounce-back year. The kid still has the offensive skills that we knew he had before. It's just a lack of focus, a lack of concentration, and it affected his game defensively. We saw them running amok, the base runners stealing all over him during the season, but I do think that he can bounce back. You got a catching coach there again, someone that he can look up to, someone that can guide him in the right direction and keep him focused in 2020.
You say bounce back, but I'm not convinced, and I like Travis d'Arnaud a lot, but I'm not of the belief that he's really proven yet that he's and every day he's dealt with injuries so far in his career. Are you convinced that he can be a guy who plays 120, 130 games and gives you the sort of production that a lot of people thought he was going to put out there when he was coming up as the top catching prospect in all of baseball?
I do. I'm telling you, the injury bug thing, that's something that it irks him more so than anybody else. This is not something, you remember, he's getting hurt on these little things, the catching position. He's trying to make a tag, he gets the hyperextended elbow. He's trying to do the little things, keep balls in front of him, he gets hit up in the shoulders, and it's a grueling position. So for me, yes, it's a tough position. It's nothing he has done. It's no lack of preparation. It's not that he's coming into spring training unprepared and out of shape, and this is what's happening to him. He's playing hard each and every day. So now that if you have a backup catcher, someone like a Rene Rivera that you trust, and you know he works well with Syndergaard, he's going to have that rest built into there. So maybe that can help him prolong his ability to be out there on the field over the course of the season.
He did get lost offensively last year, though. There's no doubt about that, to the point where, you know, I think I talked to him once late in the year, and he says, I really don't have any answers, you know. We saw him with the bat wrapped around his head. They got to be able to shorten that swing a little bit. But I think this is a make-or-break year for him, no doubt about it, Gary, because, I mean, the numbers that we've seen the numbers there at times, but he really regressed last year. If he can't get back to that, then they're going to definitely have to move on after next year.
I would agree. This is a make-or-break year for Travis d'Arnaud. What about Wieters and the Nationals? Is that a fit that you're hearing that could come to fruition?
It's possible. I mean, Scott Boras, I think, has a minority ownership in that team, as many players as he has on that team. So he seems to be able to work deals there. You know, Wieters might be a good fit for a team that is, they're another team that's a win-now team. They brought in Norris from the A's as a catcher, so they still have some issues maybe with catchers. So maybe that ends up where he does end up.